sun blazes like a merciless furnace. Sandstorms whip up without warning, and the ground beneath your feet teems with deadly snakes and venomous scorpions. No water, no shade, just miles of desolate dunes. These are the 17 reasons you never want to find yourself alone in the Sahara Desert. Number 17. Deathstalker Scorpion. If you're in the Sahara Desert, one of the most dangerous creatures you could ever encounter is the Deathstalker scorpion, also known by its scientific name, Leiurus quinquestriatus. This tiny predator is just as deadly as it sounds. Found across the desert landscapes of North Africa and the Middle East, including the Sahara, it has adapted well to the harsh, arid environment. The Deathstalker is not large, typically growing between 1 to 3 inches, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in venom. Its pale yellow color blends in with the sandy desert floor, making it hard to spot. When it strikes, it delivers one of the most potent venoms of any scorpion on the planet. The venom contains a cocktail of neurotoxins, including cilatoxin and charybdotoxin, which target your nervous system. And the effects? Intense pain, muscle convulsions, and in more severe cases, paralysis and even respiratory failure. Without treatment, a sting can be fatal, particularly for vulnerable individuals like children and the elderly. While a healthy adult may survive a sting with intense discomfort, medical attention is crucial. Antivenom exists, but it must be administered quickly to prevent the worst effects. In regions where these scorpions are common, such as parts of Algeria and Sudan, stings lead to hospitalizations every year. One key feature of the Deathstalker is how well it thrives in the Sahara's extreme conditions. It hides under rocks or in abandoned burrows, avoiding the blistering heat during the day and coming out to hunt at night. Number 16. Bandits and human traffickers. In the vast, unforgiving Sahara Desert, dangers lurk not just from the extreme environment but also from human threats. Armed groups control significant areas of the Sahara, engaging in banditry and human trafficking. These criminals prey on vulnerable travelers, especially migrants making their way north in search of a better life. The desert is vast and with little state presence. It becomes easy for bandits to operate without fear of law enforcement. Many of these bandits target migrants, robbing them of whatever meager possessions they have, and worse, kidnapping them for ransom. The situation has worsened significantly since the collapse of state control in regions like Libya, where weapons flow freely across borders. It's estimated that 2 times more migrants die in the Sahara than at sea, with violence being a leading cause. Between 2020 and 2024, over 1,100 deaths were reported, many of them due to the brutality of bandits who roam these remote areas. Human trafficking has become an organized trade, with criminals exploiting the vulnerable, forcing them into labor or worse. Migrants attempting to cross the Sahara often fall into the hands of traffickers who sell them or abandon them in remote areas. Many are held in makeshift camps or detention centers controlled by these criminal groups. In some cases, local militias and terrorist groups are involved in both human trafficking and drug smuggling. The combination of political instability, limited law enforcement, and vast desert distances makes it nearly impossible for authorities to combat these networks effectively. Trafficking routes are well established, and many of these criminal groups have been operating for years. Travelers who fall into their hands face a grim fate, with many never making it out alive. Number 15. Horned viper. In the scorching sands of the Sahara Desert, one of the deadliest creatures you could encounter is the horned viper, scientifically known as Cerastes cerastes. This small venomous snake is a master of camouflage, blending effortlessly into the desert's shifting dunes. It buries itself beneath the sand with only its eyes and characteristic horns exposed, waiting for unsuspecting prey to pass by. Though it might look small, the horned viper's venom is a powerful cocktail of toxins that can cause intense pain, internal bleeding, and, if untreated, even death. In a remote desert like the Sahara, where help is miles away, surviving a bite can be incredibly difficult. The venom can cause symptoms such as swelling, nausea, and hemorrhaging. Without antivenom, the effects can worsen into organ failure or heart complications. The horned viper is highly adapted to the harsh environment of the Sahara. It moves by sidewinding, a method that allows it to glide smoothly across the sand, avoiding the intense heat of the ground. This ability helps it travel large distances to hunt its preferred prey, small mammals, lizards, and birds. Its stealth and speed make it a formidable hunter in an already dangerous ecosystem. Despite its fearsome reputation, The horned viper's survival depends on its ability to remain unseen. In the wild, it has few predators, but the extreme desert conditions also make it vulnerable. Number 14. Sandstorms. In the Sahara Desert, sandstorms, or haboobs, are some of the most violent and sudden dangers you can face. These storms appear as massive walls of dust and sand, sometimes stretching miles wide and towering up to 10,000 feet into the air. With wind speeds reaching up to 60 miles per hour, they can reduce visibility to almost zero in just minutes. The intensity of these storms can be compared to hurricanes, with their force capable of knocking over vehicles and causing severe injuries. Haboobs are usually triggered by thunderstorms or downdrafts, where cold air from high altitudes hits the hot desert floor, pushing sand and debris forward. These storms can last anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. In the Sahara, they occur most frequently during the summer months when temperatures fluctuate dramatically between day and night. If you're caught in a haboob, the dangers are numerous. The violent winds can cause suffocation as fine particles fill the air, making it hard to breathe. Even worse, the storm's powerful gusts can pick up objects and hurl them at high speeds, posing a serious risk to anyone exposed. Travelers can become severely disoriented, lost in the overwhelming storm, which can last long enough to exhaust or severely injure those unprepared. Number 13. Desert centipedes. Lurking beneath rocks and sand in the Sahara. The large desert centipedes, particularly from the Scolopendra species, are creatures you wouldn't want to cross paths with. These centipedes can grow up to 8 inches in length and are incredibly aggressive when disturbed. They inject venom using modified front legs, delivering a painful sting rather than a traditional bite. The venom is potent, causing intense pain, swelling, and in some cases severe allergic reactions that could prove dangerous, especially in isolated desert conditions. Their venom, while not usually fatal, can lead to significant complications if not treated. Symptoms of a centipede sting range from localized pain and swelling to nausea, vomiting, and in severe cases, death of the tissue around the bite. In the vast emptiness of the desert, where medical help is hours or even days away, this can turn a sting into a life-threatening situation. Desert centipedes are expert hunters, preying on insects, small reptiles, and even rodents. They use their venom to paralyze prey quickly before devouring them. They are nocturnal, which means they emerge under the cover of darkness, often hiding during the heat of the day beneath rocks or in burrows. Their ability to strike quickly, combined with their tough, armored bodies, makes them one of the most dangerous arthropods in the desert. If you ever come across one, it's best to leave them undisturbed. Number 12. Setsa Flies. Setsa flies might seem like harmless insects, but their bite can have deadly consequences. Found primarily in sub-Saharan Africa, these flies are notorious for spreading sleeping sickness, a disease caused by the parasite Trypanosoma brucei. While most commonly associated with Central and West Africa, some areas of the Sahara, especially near its southern edges, are also home to these flies. They thrive in regions where human and animal hosts are available, feeding on their blood and transmitting the parasite. Sleeping sickness, also known as trypanosomiasis, progresses in 2 stages. First, mild flu-like symptoms like fever, headaches, and muscle pain. Then, if untreated, the parasite crosses the blood-brain barrier, leading to neurological damage. At this point, the disease can cause sleep disturbances, seizures, and eventually coma or death. In the remote and harsh environment of the Sahara, access to medical treatment is extremely limited. Diagnosing and treating sleeping sickness in such isolated settings is difficult. The disease is treatable with medications, but once it reaches the second stage, it requires more toxic treatments like melarsoprol, which can be complicated to administer and cause significant side effects. If you find yourself in Setsa fly territory, avoiding bites is your best defense. These flies are attracted to bright and dark colors, so wearing neutral tones like khaki is essential. Since no vaccine or preventive medication exists, it's crucial to use protective clothing and insect repellents, although repellents are only marginally effective. Number 11. Desert lions. In the southern region of the Sahara Desert, some lions have mastered the art of survival in the most extreme environments. Known as desert-adapted lions, these majestic creatures roam the arid landscapes of Namibia and parts of the Kalahari, where food and water are scarce. While they are more commonly associated with places like the Namib Desert, their ability to adapt makes them a fascinating part of the desert's ecosystem. These lions have developed several remarkable traits to thrive in the harsh desert. For instance, they can go for extended periods without drinking water, obtaining moisture from their prey. With their muscular builds and sharp hunting skills, desert lions are primarily nocturnal hunters, venturing out under the cover of night to stalk prey like gemsbok, springbok, and sometimes even seals along the coastal region. This nocturnal behavior helps them conserve energy and avoid the searing daytime heat. What's striking about these lions is their leaner physique, designed for traversing vast distances in search of food. Their prides are usually smaller, sometimes just a few individuals, and they rely heavily on stealth and endurance. While desert lions are rare, they are formidable predators. For a lone traveler, especially one weakened or disoriented in the desert, encountering a hungry desert lion can be a terrifying and dangerous situation. Though attacks on humans are uncommon, a vulnerable person could easily become prey in such an isolated setting. Number 10. Mirages. In the Sahara, the searing heat can play tricks on your mind. One of the most deceptive phenomena is the desert mirage. These optical illusions are caused by the intense heat of the ground, which warms the air directly above it, creating different layers of temperature. When light travels through these layers, it bends, making it appear as though there's water or shelter in the distance. But in reality, it's just the sky reflected on the ground. Mirages are especially common in vast, flat areas like deserts, where the extreme temperature gradients between the ground and the air above are at their strongest. The effect is so convincing that it can easily fool even the most experienced desert travelers. The illusion of water shimmering like an oasis can tempt people to change their course, wasting valuable time and energy, often leading them deeper into the desert's harsh and dangerous terrain. These mirages can last for hours, constantly shifting as the air temperature changes, creating a sense of disorientation. What's most dangerous is that the more desperate someone becomes in search of water or refuge, the more likely they are to chase these illusions, depleting their energy and increasing the risk of heat stroke or exhaustion. While mirages are beautiful examples of natural optical illusions, in the Sahara's unforgiving environment, they serve as a deadly reminder of how dangerous and deceptive the desert can be. For anyone lost and dehydrated, the shimmering image of a water-filled mirage might be the last thing they see before their strength fades. Number 9. Saw-scaled viper. The saw-scaled viper, or Echis carinatus, is a small but deadly snake that roams the arid regions of the Sahara and other parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. This viper's reputation is built on its highly potent venom, which can cause severe tissue damage, internal bleeding, and death if not treated swiftly. It is responsible for more snake bite deaths than almost any other species, with envenoming occurring in more than 80% of cases. One of the most alarming features of the saw-scaled viper is its aggressive nature. Unlike many snakes that shy away from confrontation, this viper will strike when provoked with minimal warning. It produces a distinctive sizzling sound by rubbing its rough scales together, a clear signal of danger. But despite this warning, the snake's camouflaged appearance makes it easy to miss, especially when it hides under rocks or blends into the sandy desert floor. A bite from this viper can lead to a host of symptoms, including intense pain, swelling, and blistering at the bite site. The venom contains hemotoxins that disrupt blood clotting, leading to uncontrolled bleeding, dizziness, and even renal failure in severe cases. Without access to anti-venom, a bite from this viper can be fatal within hours, especially in the remote Sahara where medical help is far away. Primarily nocturnal, the saw-scaled viper hunts small mammals and reptiles at night, using its heat-sensing abilities to track prey. Its small size, ranging from 1 to 2 feet, makes it deceptively hard to spot, which increases the risk of accidental encounters. In the unforgiving Sahara Desert, where survival is already a challenge, crossing paths with a saw-scaled viper can turn a bad situation into a deadly one. Number 8. Hyenas. Hyenas may not be the first creatures you associate with the Sahara Desert, but the striped hyena thrives in its arid landscape. Known for scavenging, they typically hunt for leftovers of larger predators or animals that have died from natural causes. However, these nocturnal hunters can turn dangerous. especially when food is scarce and their prey is weak or injured. Although usually solitary, striped hyenas have been known to form small packs. When they scavenge as a group, they can overpower animals much larger than themselves, including humans in rare instances. With their powerful jaws, striped hyenas can crush bones, making them highly efficient scavengers, capable of feeding on almost any part of a carcass. Their incredible sense of smell allows them to locate food over long distances, making them opportunistic feeders. In the vast emptiness of the Sahara, where survival is already a challenge, encountering a pack of striped hyenas can be a dangerous situation. A weak, injured person lost in the desert would be easy prey for these skilled scavengers, which can move quietly and strike quickly. Striped hyenas are not typically aggressive toward people, but if threatened or given the opportunity, they won't hesitate to attack. Number 7. Dehydration. In the Sahara, dehydration isn't just a mild inconvenience, it's a fast-approaching danger. When you find yourself in one of the driest places on Earth, the body's need for water becomes critical. The desert's searing heat can reach up to a staggering 50 degrees Celsius or higher during the day, causing sweat to evaporate almost immediately. This rapid water loss leads to dehydration within hours if you don't stay hydrated. Dehydration can turn deadly in just a few days if it goes unchecked, especially in such an extreme environment. Without enough water, the body starts to shut down. Organs begin to fail. The brain slows down, and confusion sets in. It's not long before severe dehydration causes hallucinations, severe disorientation, and ultimately death. When you're in the Sahara, with its vast stretches of unforgiving landscape, finding water is often an impossible task. The extreme dryness of the desert leaves little moisture in the air, increasing the need for hydration even more. Here's a grim reality. Death from dehydration in the Sahara can occur in as little as 3 to 5 days. When temperatures soar, and with virtually no shade or water sources around, your body's fluid reserves are depleted quickly. Even at night, when the desert cools, the body is still recovering from the day's intense heat. What makes the Sahara so dangerous is not just the heat, but the unpredictability. Sudden sandstorms can trap you in the desert with no water for miles, and dehydration sets in faster than you'd expect. Number 6. The fat-tailed scorpion. The fat-tailed scorpion, or Androctonus, found in the Sahara Desert, is one of the most dangerous creatures you could encounter. Known for its thick, powerful tail, the fat-tailed scorpion earns its name from the Greek word androctonus, meaning man-killer. This scorpion's venom is packed with potent neurotoxins that attack the central nervous system, causing paralysis and respiratory failure. Without immediate anti-venom, a person stung by this scorpion can die within 1 to 7 hours, depending on the severity of the sting and the individual's health. What makes this scorpion even more dangerous is its aggressive temperament. Unlike other scorpions that may retreat, fat-tailed scorpions tend to stand their ground and strike. They hunt nocturnally, preying on small insects, lizards, and even other scorpions. Their venom works quickly, immobilizing their prey within seconds, making them efficient and lethal hunters. In the Sahara, where medical aid is often far away, encountering a fat-tailed scorpion can be fatal. These scorpions are talented at hiding under rocks, within crevices, or burrowing in the sand during the heat of the day. At night, they emerge to hunt, often moving through the same desert terrain that unsuspecting travelers might cross. Despite their small size, usually between 2 and 4 inches, fat-tailed scorpions are not to be underestimated. The rapid onset of symptoms, including intense pain, difficulty breathing, and eventual respiratory failure, makes them one of the desert's deadliest threats. Survival hinges on quick access to anti-venom, which is both expensive and difficult to find in remote areas. Before we move on, here's today's subscriber's pick. Imagine being lost in the vast, desolate Sahara Desert, where survival is anything but certain. This image of eerie, skeletal figures half buried in the sand serves as a haunting reminder of how easily one could meet a lonely end in the Sahara. In such an unforgiving environment, it doesn't take much for things to go terribly wrong. Dehydration is the most immediate threat the sun beats down mercilessly, draining every drop of moisture from your body, leaving you weak and disoriented. But dehydration is only one of many dangers. The Sahara is home to various deadly creatures, like venomous snakes and scorpions. A single sting or bite could send you into shock, with no help in sight for miles. Then there are the sudden, violent sandstorms. These powerful storms can bury you alive, disorient you, and make it impossible to find your way back. The desert offers no mercy, whether it's the blistering heat, a fatal encounter with desert predators, or the choking grip of a sandstorm. This desert takes no prisoners. Would you dare to venture into the unforgiving wilderness of the Sahara Desert? Let us know in the comments section below. Number 5. Assassin bugs. Assassin bugs in the Sahara may not be the first creature you think of when considering desert dangers, but they can be quite a threat. These insects, also known as kissing bugs, carry a nasty surprise: the ability to transmit Chagas disease. Although more commonly associated with Central and South America, Chagas can also be contracted from assassin bugs in desert regions. The disease is caused by the Trypanosoma cruzi parasite, which enters the human body through the bug's feces after a bite. While symptoms may start mild fever, fatigue, and body aches if untreated, Chagas can lead to heart and digestive system issues over time. But it's not just Chagas disease you have to worry about. Assassin bug bites are notoriously painful. Their bites inject a toxin that can cause intense burning, swelling, and sometimes more severe symptoms, like headaches and fever. In the Sahara's harsh conditions, a bite can quickly become infected, particularly if proper medical care is far away. These bugs typically hide in crevices, under rocks, and in animal burrows during the day, emerging at night to feed on blood. If bitten, it's important to seek medical attention as soon as possible. Early treatment is key to avoiding the more serious complications associated with both the bite itself and any diseases these bugs might transmit. Number 4. Sandflies. In the scorching heat of the Sahara Desert, tiny sandflies, almost invisible to the eye, can become a life-threatening problem. These small insects, less than 1/4 the size of a mosquito, carry the dangerous Leishmania parasite, which causes leishmaniasis. The disease primarily comes in 2 forms: cutaneous and visceral. Cutaneous leishmaniasis causes painful skin sores that can take months to heal, leaving behind permanent scars. However, the visceral form is far more dangerous, attacking internal organs like the spleen and liver. Without treatment, visceral leishmaniasis is fatal in over 95% of cases. What makes sandflies particularly dangerous is their ability to operate quietly and quickly. Active during the evening and night, these insects bite without being noticed, making it nearly impossible to avoid them in an unprotected environment. In the remote Sahara, where access to medical care is scarce, even a small bite can lead to significant problems if infection sets in. Leishmaniasis spreads rapidly if not treated, and the lack of vaccines or preventive medications further complicates matters. The best defense against these flies is to cover exposed skin, use effective insect repellents, and sleep in well-protected areas with insecticide-treated nets. Yet, even with precautions, the harsh desert environment makes it difficult to fully protect yourself from these persistent insects. Number 3. Extreme temperature fluctuations. In the Sahara Desert, surviving the relentless heat of the day is only half the battle. Temperatures can climb above 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, creating a hostile environment where dehydration and heat stroke are constant threats. But as soon as the sun sets, the desert transforms dramatically. The temperature plummets, sometimes dropping below freezing, leading to equally dangerous conditions. This rapid fluctuation, caused by the lack of moisture in the air to retain heat, can catch travelers off guard. At night, without the sun to provide warmth, the sand quickly radiates all the heat it absorbed, leaving the desert floor cold. The lack of cloud cover also accelerates the cooling process, allowing temperatures to fall drastically. In some regions, nighttime temperatures can drop to -3 degrees Celsius or 26 degrees Fahrenheit, and extreme cases have recorded lows as frigid as -11 degrees Celsius or 12 degrees Fahrenheit. These shifts are more than just uncomfortable, they're dangerous. During the day, dehydration and heat exhaustion are the biggest threats. But at night, hypothermia can set in if you're not properly insulated. The human body is ill-equipped to handle such dramatic temperature changes, especially without access to shelter or proper clothing. Surviving in the Sahara means preparing for both extremes, staying cool and hydrated in the day, and warm enough to avoid freezing at night. Number 2. Sodom Apple. In the Sahara Desert, one of the most dangerous plants you might encounter is the Sodom Apple, or Calotropis procera. Despite its striking appearance with large silvery green leaves and white to pink flowers, this plant is highly toxic. The fruit of the Sodom apple looks like an inviting treat, but consuming it or any part of the plant can lead to severe consequences. The plant's milky sap contains compounds known as cardiac glycosides, which can cause symptoms ranging from nausea and vomiting to heart complications, respiratory issues, and even death. The Sodom apple thrives in the harsh conditions of the Sahara, and its toxicity makes it a significant threat to both humans and animals. Its poisonous latex can irritate the skin, and, if it comes into contact with the eyes, can even cause blindness. The plant is deceptively beautiful, with its fruit resembling small apples, but ingesting it can lead to organ failure within hours without medical intervention. This plant has adapted well to desert environments and can be found in sandy and rocky areas, thriving where few other plants can survive. Number 1. Isolation and disorientation. The Sahara Desert's vast, featureless landscape makes disorientation one of its deadliest dangers. With no clear landmarks or consistent terrain, it's easy to lose your sense of direction. Once lost, the desert can become a trap, where wandering in search of a way out often leads you deeper into isolation. For travelers, getting disoriented can quickly turn into a survival crisis as dehydration, starvation, and exposure to extreme temperatures set in. Without navigation tools, even experienced adventurers find themselves confused by the seemingly identical sand dunes and rocky terrain. The Sahara spans over 3.6 million square miles, almost as large as the United States, which spans about 3.8 million square miles. So, finding help in such an immense, desolate place is almost impossible. The lack of water and extreme heat during the day can cause heat stroke and dehydration within hours, while nighttime brings freezing temperatures that can lead to hypothermia. Many survival experts stress the importance of staying put when lost in the desert to avoid wasting energy. However, isolation itself can play tricks on the mind, leading to confusion and panic. These psychological effects make staying calm and rational a challenge, further complicating chances of survival. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.